Welcome. Been 2 weeks already, huh? So, we are back with the latest set of patch notes, patch 25.18 for League of Legends, and I don't know what number we're on for TFT, but we'll get to that when we get to it. First, we gotta start with some classic League of Legends. Let's get into it. Alright, blah 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 blah. Nice big number of changes here. Oh, Garen got buffed. I'm already terrified. And the Lowy got adjusted. Also terrified. The T1 Worlds win. A lot of people pointed out that the Faker skin looks like Lorien from Dark Souls 3. If anyone's ever played Dark Souls 3, I absolutely love that game. I love Dark Souls in general. Like, I have a bunch of Dark Souls related videos on my YouTube channel already. So, that's the first thing I thought of when I saw this. So if anything, I might be getting that skin. Maybe. Not sure yet. Bots, boosters, and bans. If you believed you were wrongfully banned. Okay, so this is just a follow-up on what they were talking about a couple weeks ago. Death Recap has received a visual polish. Cannot be moved anywhere. Re-added the damage type pie chart. Okay, so just an update to their changed Death Recap. Your shop is back. Here we go. Champions. All right. Starting with a Mumu. Mumu has been very sad in support for a while, and we'd like to give him some power back. So 2-second cooldown reduction when maxed. 50 mana at all ranks. Okay. That's not crazy by any stretch of the imagination. But the idea was to bring a Mumu support back into the meta? I mean, I guess it's not that bad, right? Like, with how popular Poppy support is, if she could just hit W and stop a Mumu from pulling himself all the way in, I mean, yeah, this isn't crazy. Just a couple seconds, assuming he maxes it first. Because if you're jungle, you don't max Q first, right? You max it last, I think. So this doesn't really affect jungle Amumu at all. Aside from paying 5 extra mana for his 1 point in Q. Annie, W damage increase, R magic pen decrease. Been on fire in pro play for a while. Under the radar tech, huh? So minus 20 base damage if you max our W first. Probably just to inspire you to max Q first instead. Summon Tibbers, the magic pin 15 through 20 is now 10 through 20, so. It's still 20 once you get to level 16, but she's going to be a lot weaker in the early mid stages. Ashe, AD growth increased. I think this is a good change, honestly. Because when Ashe is meta, it's because she can hit R, right? So I kind of like the idea of them increasing her AD growth to try and inspire people to play her as an ADC. Aurora, passive damage adjusted. Okay. I want this champion out of top lane, please. Aurora has been out-competing, dominating the mid-meta in pro. Yes, yes. What about top lane? Manage baseline target without buying a high piece was worse in her lane phase slightly. Base percent max health damage. Down to 1%. Okay. That's a good change. Percent max health damage AP ratio. Okay, so she scales a little bit harder with AP. So once she gets items, she's still going to be terrifying. But this is so good. This champ does way too much damage in lane, especially if you're like a melee and you can't like hit her. So I accept that. Fine. I think she's still going to be horrible to deal with, but I'll take those nerfs where I can get them. Azir, attack speed growth decrease, W damage decrease. So this didn't last very long. They tried to put some pep in Azir's step and he took over pro play again and now he's getting nerfed again. Yes, yes, especially in pro play. We know this song and dance. Azir's been getting nerfed for pro play forever. So he lost 0.5% of attack speed growth, and his AP ratio on his W minus 5%. I kind of feel bad for the Azir mains, but at the same time, someone who's really good with this champ is just going to smurf on everyone anyway, so it is what it is. Briar. Q damage decreased, now deals physical damage. W bug fix, R alert sound now plays after a delay, range increased, damage decreased. Briar's ultimate is a little too hard to hit, especially against aware players. While it's intended that the spell's high counterplay, one to ensure smart Briar players are able to find situations where it's more... We're delaying the global warning sound until after 1 second, which would make R much easier to hit. To compensate, we're nerfing her damage a bit as she's quite strong right now and doesn't have room for a straight buff. I also took the chance to move Q back to physical for all you lethality enjoyers out there. So it does a little less damage, but it's physical again. Alright. 150 to 350 plus volume plus 120. 50 to 50 plus 130% AP. Oh, it lost its AD ratio, but it does more AP. Bigger range. Ah. Interesting. Delaying the global sound to make it easier for Briar to get in a sneaky ult. I guess that'll be pretty good, especially if she's not like literally max range, right? It'll definitely be better if, like, you know, you're in a bush nearby and you throw it out, because you won't hear the sound cue until it's too late. Alright, we'll see. I don't see a whole lot of Briar. I never have. But maybe I'm too low elo. Maybe Emerald's too low. Yeah, I'm saying Emerald instead of Diamond now because I haven't been playing ranked. I haven't been in a ranked mood, bro. I can't sit down and play some ranked games to get back into Diamond. It's just... This game's frustrating. Cassiopeia. Mana increased. E-damage versus poison targets increase. Been stagnating in the grass for a while ever since the early few patches of Noxus. So she has more base mana. Twin Fangs does up to 12 extra damage per E. I don't like that. I think this is absolutely fine mid lane. But please don't let her creep her way back into being an S-tier top laner. I don't think it'll happen, because the champion's actually really hard to play properly. But it would make me very sad. Galio, passive and Q damage decreased. Really? I'm actually shocked they nerfed Galio. I thought this champ was just gonna sit at the top forever. Minus 5% AP ratio on his passive? Ooh, wow. 0.5% on the percent max health damage on his Q. Those are some reasonable nerfs for Galio. Because you just pick him into AP mid, he finishes his Hollow Radiance, and he stops taking damage, auto clears the minion wave, and he can outroam you, and he has infinite damage. So this just makes sense. Garen, E damage increased. Alright. Garen was OP, and then they tried to make some adjustments to him, and now he's too weak. Hey, bro, as long as these dipshits don't go back to, like, one-shotting, it's probably fine. 80 ratio per spin, 48%, 50%. Okay. I mean, it's a decent little buff. But nothing too crazy. Hui, passive and E abilities damage increased. WQ movement speed increase. This is interesting. I really only see Hui bot lane, believe it or not. I never see him get played mid. So the AP ratio on his passive, that's the little explosion, right? That he gets from hitting you with multiple abilities. 5% increase. This is the movement speed. 20 through 30 is now 30 through 40, a 10% increase across the board. And an extra percent per 100 AP. Ooh, he might be kind of speedy. His E subject torment. Which one is this? Oh, all of them. So the AP ratio on all of his E casts is up 5% as well. Okay. I'm actually glad they didn't touch his Q. Because the most frustrating part about fighting this champion is that he can hit you from literally off your screen. But I believe that's all his Q cast, the orange abilities. So I'm glad those didn't get changed. The rest of this though seems fine. Jace Q damage increased. Okay. Why not? Let's bring Jace back into the meta. An extra 20 damage at level 1. Okay. And it scales to... You max it first, so... Yeah, by the time he hits level 9, it equalizes. So he just has a bit of a stronger early game. High skill skewed buff to make a shock blast all the more shocking. Alright, we'll see. I guess it makes sense, right? Because, like, if it's a skill shot at the end of the day, so if you don't get hit by it, this did nothing. Alright, Alawi. So this champion received some major changes recently, and I've played a few games on it. It's a bit weird, but it feels like she does more damage, and the tentacles slam much faster, but some of the tech that she used to have is lost. So, for example, you used to be able to pull a soul on Alawi, and if the person got out of range or you killed the soul, you could ult afterwards, after they had already been hit with the debuff, to make the tentacles slam instantly. And if you're against an immobile champ, it almost guaranteed the kill in a lot of instances. But that's gone now. So I am curious to see what they might change. Passive. No longer spawns tentacles during summon or teleport. Her passive now waits until she's done teleporting. Okay. So you don't put one in base and then you teleport and then you have to wait the extra time. Harsh Lesson. This is the empowered basic attack. Does a little bit less percent HP damage. Vessel duration 4 seconds. This makes sense to me. This makes sense to me. It felt really bad that this champion forced you to play her little minigame. And then you had dumbasses who would, like, they'd miss the E, but then they'd just stat check you pressing W over and over. And there's, like, no punish for it. And the vessel does last a second longer now. So that might be enough for you to guarantee the second slam. I'm not sure, because I'm not totally sure on the timing for the tentacle spawns. We nerfed Alawi's vessel duration. She was left in a state where she would sometimes fail to get any follow-up. Make it more likely she can get a well-deserved follow-up slap, but as this has a meaningful power impact, we're also giving her a small compensation there. Alright. Seems fine to me. We shall see the impact. This is actually like a little bit of a nerf. Though. Right? If you were one of those degenerates who just spammed W and prayed, you're going to be a bit weaker. Kiana. Kiana's another champ I never see. And I don't know why. The few times I see this champ, it's because it's like someone who mains her, and they always pull some disgusting nonsense with her. Bringing her into the spotlight is arguably the strongest champion in the game and driving her ban rate up significantly. Really? Minus 2 AD, minus 0.2 armor growth. Bonus damage, minus 5%. I still haven't seen her. Maybe I am too low elo after all. Silas, passive damage to monsters decreased. Alright, I guess Silas jungle was a little too strong, so they reeled back 20%. Seems to rise at the range now. More performance than we're comfortable with. Yeah, it's still a net positive over the recent buffs, right? Because it was just 100 at first, and then they buffed it to 150. Now it's 130. It'll probably still be fine. Oh, Talia. This is another pro play champion. No stranger to higher level play. No shit. Alright, so let's just take a look. Q. Threaded Volley. Costs less mana across the board. 10 less across the board. Q2 mana cost also halved. It only costs 10. Base damage. 56 to 130 is now 55 to 125. Flat damage per rock to monsters. 10 to 20. So they nerfed her base damage slightly. Significantly improved the mana costs. And then doubled the damage to monsters. E, Unraveled Earth. So this is the minefield. Mana cost is now 90, the lowest cost at all ranks. Detonation base damage, 20 to 105 is now 25 to 85. Wow, that's actually kind of significant. Because you max it second, I think. Monster damage modifier, 190%. Wow. So, Talia got some hefty buffs to her mana efficiency. But her base damage got decreased. Aside from in the jungle. So if you play Talia jungle, these are just buffs, right? But if you play her mid, these are some nerfs. Okay, I can live with that. Vel'Koz, E cooldown decreased, R damage increased. Looking to give a bit of love to Vel'Koz has been looking at tab weak in both main roles. 14 through 12 is now 12 through 10, so -2 at all ranks. Lifeform disintegration rate, total base damage. Wow. Okay. You max Vel'Koz's E last, so this isn't going to be super impactful. -2 is still really, really good at all ranks. And his ult just has higher damage, period. You're doing almost 1,000 damage with hardly any AP. The moment you hit level 16. You are doing 1,000 damage, right? Like, guaranteed. Even if you went AD Vel'Koz, you're doing 1,000 damage. That's pretty good. Volibear, passive AP ratio decreased. It took them a long time to nerf this. I don't think AP Volibear is broken, but it truly felt like there was nothing you could do against it in some matchups. Called the way to the top of the ranks of junglers as the rest of them were brutally wounded by nerfs in the last time. While except for the Thunder God to be potent, his current strength is a bit too thunderous. Yeah, because he would just build Cosmic Drive. I think that's what it's called. The item that gives you movement speed when you hit stuff with abilities. And then he'd be super fast. And then he scales on AP. So now he's getting less attack speed from the AP. Almost 3%. I think it's still going to be pretty good. I think it's still going to be pretty good, but that's a step in the right direction. Yunara. Base health and AD decreased. E bonus movement speed and duration decrease. Quickly risen to be the strongest marksman in the game, accounting for mastery. So her base health -25, base AD -3. I don't think that's the craziest given she's an item-focused champion. I hate this image. She wears the stupidest shoes, by the way. If that's the only thing about Yunara's design I'm going to complain about. I think her hair is weird too, but, you know, maybe that's just because I'm uncultured. But these shoes look so goofy to me. I don't know. Maybe that's also a cultural thing. I can't be sure. But it looks so goofy that she sits on these blocks. Anyway, bonus movement speed from her E. 50 to 70 is now 30 through 50. -20% is substantial. Holy crap. And it's the lowest duration. That's a good nerf. Holy crap. That is huge. Her mobility took a huge hit there. Zach, R now Ghost. Oh, okay. So you hit R and you can't get minion blocked. That makes sense. I mean, he is jumping in the air while he ults. Alright, Bomby Cinder. Percent amp on monsters. Back to 100%. Tank junglers rejoice. Sunfire Cape. Percent amp on minions and monsters up 10%. Tanks rejoice. Better wave clear. Mercurial Scimitar. Bro, you never see this. Oh, it's even right here. Malzahar Warwick. Because suppression is the only reason you ever built this item. Ever. Still usually in your best interest to complete this item last. Even though you may still feel like you're giving up power than you can afford to. So some buffs to Mercurial Scimitar. Plus 10 AD. Minus 5 MR. Active move speed. Plus 0.5. This item's still terrible. It is what it is. This is an item you only build out of necessity. It's just like anti-heal. Which, by the way, if you'll allow me to rant about anti-heal for a second, as an Aatrox main, why is anti-heal in the game? I feel like the game would be better for everyone if you just nerfed healing across the board and removed the anti-heal. No one likes having to be forced to build an item. No one likes being forced to pay an 800 gold tax just so they stand a chance at killing an enemy. Right? Like, Ignite having built-in anti-heal is fine, sure, whatever. But that shouldn't be the incentive, right? Anti-heal should never be the incentive to take something. And then it sucks because, like, if you don't build anti-heal, the champs that heal a lot heal, like, massively, right? Because the champs that heal a lot, like Aatrox, like Warwick, their healing accounts for anti-heal, right? Like, Aatrox heals a metric fuck ton, even while under anti-heal, but he's still killable. He's not killable if you don't have anti-heal, and he's ahead in any capacity. I feel like it's just ridiculous. I feel like items that you can tech into your build to deal with other champs is cool, but it shouldn't be like an encompassing thing that you feel like I have to buy it, right? I shouldn't have to buy anti-heal. The game should be pretty playable and winnable without it, and I feel the same with this. You should never have to need QSS. And it's not so bad on Warwick, because at the end of the day, his ult is a skill shot, and it does scale with attacks or with movement speed, so it can get pretty difficult to deal with later on. But it's not as oppressive as like a Malzahar R. Malzahar just hits the outplay button. Like, an item that exists to counter just 2-3 champs is just absolutely ridiculous. Anyway, that's my little rant over. I feel like it's really silly to have... I don't think the items should be taken out of the game. Let me clarify. I don't think that this and anti-heal should be removed entirely. It should just never feel like I have to build this. There should never be a situation where you give up an item slot and 1,000 gold just to not get spanked. Especially in matchups that you should be winning but can't. Anyway, I'm done. Done ranting. Moving on. Aram. Due to popular requests, we're going to be keeping the Aram rotations from Season 2 Aram updates. This means that for the foreseeable future, Butcher's Bridge and Cushions Crossing are here to stay. That makes sense to me. Cool. They're new maps. Everyone loves new maps. Updating the free-to-play list in Aram to contain the last 5 rotations. You'll typically have over 95 champions made available per game. Wow. Alright, cool. So a nice little change for Aram players. I don't know why we ever lost Butcher's Bridge to begin with. Everyone loved it when it first came around back when Gangplank died. And then they got rid of it, and then it was gone forever, and everyone was upset. And while we're at it, bring back the winter map for Summoner's Rift too. I don't understand why that's something that's been gone for so long. At the very least, make it like a toggle. Maybe you don't toggle it in game, but like out of game, like in your regular client, there's like no real reason why I can't have a map skin other than the client breaking down, of course, I suppose. Last patch, Altered Trials will be reactivated, so you have one last chance to get those wins. If you can defeat all of Vegas Trials, you'll earn the Definitely Not a Bot. Trials of Doom, Vagar's Curse. So Doom bots. Bots are bots just below the level of the hard queue, and the level cap for players in Doom bots is raised to 30. The bots will gain 100% experience from all. Whew. And then you have to buy an item to do the same thing. 100% experience, but no stats. But if you make it to level 30, it becomes something much more powerful. More minions will spawn. Vagar's attacks might burn a little more in this trial, so we're giving Liandry's Torment. Oh my good. Oh my good. Alright, I'm going back to farming for this title. Some balance changes, bug fixes. Doombot Lee Sin, please nerf this asshole. Okay, it's a nerf. Increased cooldowns. A little bit less damage. Halved at level 1, thank God. Doubled his W cooldown. Thank God. Just nerf Lee Sin. Nerf Caitlyn too, please. Yes. Corky, nerf him too. Yes. Make it beatable, please. Alright, so a bunch of the Doombots have been completely nerfed. Feels really good, man. Oh wait, not Nautilus. Nautilus actually got buffed. Alright, sweet. Alright. After 180 seconds of no activity, your vote is no longer counted towards forfeiting. That's pretty good. It sucked to get stuck in an arena game with an AFK partner. After 300 seconds, your client is disconnected. Detection is disabled for players who are on a buy round or are eliminated. Okay. Minimum time to FF remains unchanged 6 minutes. Do minimum game time played 10 minutes. Alright. Ranked champions no longer gain 20 move speed. Champions that are free to play in Summoner's Rift for the week are also available in Arena. Okay. Cool. And a plethora of bonus arena changes. Soraka. Thank God. I hate seeing enchanters in Arena. I hate enchanters in general, but I nerfed about that last time. Let's not rant about it again. Alright, bug fixes, quality of life changes. The new skins. And there you go. There's our League of Legends patch. Not bad. Honestly. Not bad at all. It looks like they finally nerfed some champions that they've been meaning to nerf. And I bet it's only because Worlds is coming up. And now, it's time to take a look at Teamfight Tactics. I realize I didn't full screen. My bad. 15.4 is huge, so let's break down the core goals. Doing away with the Assassin tag and reworking the Fighter champion role. Moving the Omnivent fighters who got in favor of scaling attack speed buff. Artifacts are too common. Combat pacing is still too high. Reworked blue buff, Kraken's Fury. Oh my. Prismatic orbs. All players now get the game prismatic orb. Do you mean the same? The same prismatic orb? More viable power-ups and new champion-specific power-ups. Balance changes. This all sounds great already. I agree with all of this. And champion specific power ups are always fun. Oh my good golly gosh, look at all of these changes. Oh, Riot, you beautiful bastards. Oh, finally. Okay, so rotating shop, we have a Little Garen now. Cute little Demacian Justice. The Classroom is back, and Lulu. Alright, so first things first. Fighters. No longer gain Omnivamp per stage. Now gain attack speed per stage instead, up to 30%. Some fighters' base attack speed has been modified to compensate. All assassins have had their role changed to fighter. Okay, so all the fighter chimps now have attack speed and no more Omnivamp. Cool. Okay. Champion role stat changes. So Katarina, obviously, she is now a magic fighter. Her attack speed is lower, but remember, she will gain the bonus attack speed from now on. Darius' attack speed also been lowered, but again, he's getting the bonus attack speed as the game goes on. Yasuo, now an attack fighter. Same with him in the attack speed. Akali, now a fighter. Volibear, Braum, Lee Sin, Yone, all got a reduced attack speed because they'll be getting it back as the game goes on. And Yone got 5 more resist. That's nice. Prismatic Orbs. Okay. This is a big one. You know, this is ironic because I sent a support ticket to Riot. I had a game where I got a Prismatic Orb and my item despawned. Alright. Prismatic Orbs are meant to be game warping, exciting high roll moments for players. However, their varied outputs often left players feeling disadvantaged rather than rewarded. Revamping so all players get all the same rewards, right? Making the gaps between players smaller and also adding a new variety of rewards. Also added 2 incredibly rare novel orbs that are excited for you to get your mittens on. Just to reiterate, prismatic orbs are very rare and are seen in just under 4% of games in stages 3 or 4. Really? I feel like I've seen them more often than that. Maybe I've just played a lot of games. Every player gets the same prismatic orb output, so a 10% chance to get 30 gold, 3 component anvils and a full item, 4 belts and 4 reforgers, 1 greater duplicator and 2 lesser duplicators, 1 artifact and 10 gold, 45 gold, 3 full items, a spat, a reforger, and 3 components. Ooh, this makes it actually hard to miss. 1 rascal glove and 1 thieves glove. Really? Oh my god. 1 of each base component and a golden remover. Holy crap. 40 gold and 20 reroll. Imagine hitting this at the end of stage 3. 40 gold and 20 rerolls when everyone's trying to hit level 8 and roll down for their power spikes to hit like their Yumi 2 or whatever. That's terrifying. 1 radiant lucky chest and 2 5-cost champs. 1 spatula, 1 frying pan, and 40 gold. A tiny present and a fishy reward. I'm assuming fishy reward is the boot. And I'm not sure what tiny present is. Gold orbs. Artifact anvil odds. 0%. Thank God. Champion duplicator. Little bit higher. That's fine. 2 5 costs. Also a little bit higher. Great. You took this away and just split it. Okay. Opening encounters. Loot subscription. Artifact anvil reward replaced with 1 completed anvil and 1 salvager. Okay, so they're just removing how often you see artifacts altogether. While you're at it, remove the gold augment that gives an artifact. And remove Yone encounter. That'll make it really rare. So stage 2, Krug. Oh, Krugs are a little weaker. Crab Rave is also a little weaker. Okay. Traits. Oh, Lord. Crystal Gambit. Base gems per loss. Oh, they walked it back a little bit. It's 15. Stage 4 multiplier. Oh, the stage 4 multiplier is lower though. Heavyweight health. 20, 40, 60 is now 20, 40, 65. Okay. I kind of like doing the heavyweight Supreme Cell where you just do Darius carry. Darius and Jace. Luchador no longer grants immunity and untargetability before jumping. Champions will heal before damage is dealt, allowing them to survive if they would out-heal the damage. Champions no longer run backwards before leaping. Sweet! Did anyone ever get annoyed at the bug of Gnar just popping into the atmosphere after he sets off Luchador? Hopefully that's fixed too. And the heal is higher. It's now 50% at 4. Damn. Mighty Max 7 base health. 850 is now 950. I love Mighty Mech too, by the way. I love doing vertical Mighty Mech. I have one with I'll Be the Legs like 5 different times now. Anytime I see I'll Be the Legs, I'm taking it. 1st or 8th. Don't care. Prodigy team-wide mana regen is now just 1 at all levels. Good. Protector shield amount. 20, 40, 60, 18, 36, 55. Good. Wraith Shadow Cadence. A little lower, so they're really trying to push vertical Wraith. Star Guardian individual bonuses. Rel buffed by 40. Syndra buffed by 1. Zaya buffed. Ari still the same. Nico buffed. Poppy buffed. Jinx buffed. Seraphine buffed. The bonus per tier has been decreased though. Okay. I can understand that. So, Star Guardian, their individual bonuses are better, but the huge bonus you get for having multiple in is lower. Interesting. I wonder what the idea behind that is. Star Guardian is too heavily skewed towards the deeper end of the vertical. We're making adjustments across the board to allow the trait to be more splashable, stronger earlier, and a tad weaker later. Alright. Sounds good to me. Time for units. Malphite a little less health, thank God. This unit's the best unit in the game for no reason. Resist per item. Nerf, thank God. -8. Silver base AD increase. Mana buff as well. Interesting. Right, so make Silver stronger and Malphite weaker. Kai'Sa has a very high power ceiling that gets even higher with optimal power up and team building. We're lowering her base AD so she needs to get a few stacks. Vi's been outdone by other 2-cost Juggernaut. We want to make sure both Zon-dwelling frontliners can pack and take a punch. So Janna spell damage buffed. Wow, 310. Is Janna carry viable now? Kai'Sa, thank God she got nerfed. It's only -6, but that's significant because it's hitting multiple times. There's lots of projectiles. I think Kai'Sa will still probably be really good. If you hit a Kai'Sa early, like an early Kai'Sa 2 with a Spear of Shojin, you still just 3-star Kai'Sa, win the game. Vi heal increased across the board. It's pretty good. I'm a Knuckle Dusters enjoyer myself, so I kind of like this. 3-cost units. Malzahar mana, a little lower. I guess there's some Prodigy nerfs, so that's fine. Senna's core gameplay logic has been rewritten. She now is more responsive in ending her spell if no valid targets are within her beam. She's also now able to attack and move significantly earlier after the spell ends. Okay. So Senna's spell is a lot better. The damage has been nerfed, though, to compensate. And that's a pretty big one. Holy crap. That's almost 100 AD she lost. That's 85 AD when you 3-star her. Smolder got buffed, though. An extra 25 AD if you 3-star him, so they're trying to bring Smolder back into the game so he can compete with Kog'Maw. Udyr healing, hopefully nerfed. Yes, indeed. -30 across the board. Zeke spell damage. +30, then +45, then +80. Damn. Alright. Ziggs is a viable carry. 4 costs. Poppy's shield has HP scaling. Did it not already? Huh. Bring down the power of Leona Yumi, thank God. Rise damage popping up near the top of the damage charts even when he's not your core carrier. He's pretty good, but since we're nerfing a lot of A and S tier cards, for him to become an even more dominant force without appropriate nerfs. We only hit the mentor version. Okay. So, Casanzi's spell durability. -5. Yep, -5. Poppy's shield. It no longer scales with AP. Oh, yes, it does. It still does. A lot less AP. It took a heavy hit, but it's plus 10% max HP. That's good, because I like putting 3 Warmogs on Poppy when I can. Primary damage is now just AD, but it's a little higher scaling. Secondary damage, also now just AD. But it's over doubled her AD now. That's pretty good. So yeah, if you do heavyweight, 6 heavyweight, Poppy, 3 items, she's gonna pack a punch. Leona resists steel per potential. Just 1 now. Rise Mentor spell damage. -30, -45. Geyser damage. 50, 75, 45, 65. I feel like that's relatively minor, but I guess they don't want to kill Rise. He is still a 4 cost. Samira single target damage. Significant increase. Not bad. I don't know if that'll make Samira clickable, though. I mean, Samira's still fine, right? Like, if you get perfect items, Samira 2 ahead of tempo, like, she's absolutely fine. But she's not as strong as, like, Yumi. Speaking of, Yumi. Damage per page. -4, -6. I actually don't know the exact math on this because I don't know how many pages she shoots. But I'm under the impression that Yumi has been brought in line and I don't have to worry about Prodigy being 4-way contested every game. 5 cost units. Twisted Fate spell base damage. Do a lot of damage off his marks, but if that unit dies before the mark goes off, he's forced to fold early, removing some of his mark damage to his ability, so he'll always be able to benefit. Shifting Zyra into a better damage carry and less of a utility plant by moving the HP and team-wide attack speed into pure damage. So Twisted Fate and Zyra actually got buffed. Which is funny because when you build a comp, you're normally capping around these units. Like when you finish building your base board and you have extra levels, you're normally rolling for Twisted Fate and Zyra. Which, by the way, I am shocked that Varus is not here. So, we might still have some Varus terrorism on the Rift here. Or in the Convergence. So, plus 80, plus 120. But this part got nerfed. Okay. Zyra spell damage. Plus 10, plus 15. And the melee plant has less HP. Team-wide attack speed. 15 plus 40 plus 60. 10 plus 25 through 40. Okay. So the utility part is gone, but Zyra's doing a lot more damage. Despite a recent buff, Mundo's champion augment hasn't been able to land him in a seat in top 4. We're giving Mundo a better toss of the chair and a mana buff. So give him the chair, got buffed. He has 4 range now. Mana buff. Mess Hall can no longer drop on 2-1. The Cannon augment, a mana buff. Space Camp adjustment. Whenever you upgrade a crew champion, gain a random crew champion. Whenever you upgrade a 1-cost crew champion, gain a random 1 through 3 cost crew champion. That's an interesting adjustment. So now you can hit Ziggs off of this. But it has to be a 1-cost crew champion you upgrade. Teacher's Council no longer increases bonuses from mentors by 10%. And it gives you a Kabuko. Wow, they just... Is Teacher's Council unclickable now? Maybe not. It still gives the bonus to the entire team, but now it's not an automatic top 4. Shin mana buff. I never see the Shin augment. I saw it at the start of the set, but no one clicks the shit anymore. Base attack speed, slight increase, whatever. Prismatic pipeline is disabled. You know, with the changes they just made to prismatic orbs, this makes sense. Giant and Mighty has been re-enabled. What is this? Your team gets larger, gaining health and 4% max health. Tiny but deadly. Team is smaller but moves and attacks faster. Radiant Relics and Radiant Refractor are now exclusive. Ah, you can't hit double Radiance anymore. That's also very good. Thank God. All right, here we go. Items. Archangel Staff. 10 more base AP. But it gives 10 less AP per 5 seconds. So 10 more up front, but 10 less per scale. Damn. Well, Archangel's no longer the best item for AP. Blue buff mana regen, lower. Gain 10% additional attack damage and ability power from all sources. Interesting. That's very interesting. And it still works both ways. So you can get... It's not even damage amp. It's just additional attack damage and ability power. So now you kind of want to slam blue buff with like a death cap. That's kind of crazy. Or a death blight. Giant Slayer baseline damage amp. Increase. All right. Kraken's Fury attack damage. Minus 10. Okay. Attacks grant 3% stacking attack damage up to 20. After 20 attacks, gain 40% attack speed. That's an interesting adjustment. Doesn't go infinite anymore, but it still provides a burst of attack speed upon reaching max stacks. It's probably still Ash's best friend. Nashor's Tooth ability power, minus 10. Mana regen, 0. Critical strike chance. Attacks grant 2 bonus mana, increase to 4 if they critically strike. Huh. So Nashor's Tooth is an attack speed AP crit item now. Interesting. I mean, who likes that? Kale? No, because Kale doesn't have mana. Just your AP carries, right? Like Ari. Interesting. That's pretty cool because now you can go. You can easily do like with Nashor's Tooth. You can do Jewel Gauntlet. You can do Jewel Gauntlet, Nashor's Tooth, Striker's Flail. Because this will now still give you the mana, so you don't necessarily need Nashor's Tooth. Because you can farm infinite mana from your basic attacks with Nashor's Tooth instead. That's kind of cool. Quicksilver base attack speed minus 20%. Damn. But it gives stacking attack speed. Okay. So what about Rage Blade? Red buff attack speed plus 5%. Radiant Archangels minus 5. AP per second minus 5. Radiant blue buff minus 15. 20% additional attack and ability power. That's kind of scary. Radiant Kraken's Fury minus 10. And then it gives 80% attack speed. Okay. They're really pushing it as another attack speed item. Radiant Giant Slayer plus 5. That's nice to see. Radiant Nashor's Tooth ability power minus 30. Mana regen 0. Critical strike chance 35%. And then it doubles the mana you get from your attacks. Radiant Quicksilver halved. But it gets 6% attack speed. Okay. And then Radiant Red buff attack speed plus 5. Alright, artifacts. This is where my concerns really come from. Fishbone's attack speed minus 20%. Thank God. That is deserved. Flicker Blades. Minus 1%. Minus 1. Flicker Blades is probably still going to be busted. But then again, with the changes to Kraken Slayer, it might not be terrible. You're still going to like Flicker Blade and Ash, though. Infinity Force health. Plus 50. Stats plus 5. Innervating Locket mana. 1%. Lich Bane. Lich Bane buffed. No one ever really takes this, so that's fine to me. Mana Zane, Mana Restore, minus 20. That's the second nerf in a row for Mana Zane. Rapid Fire Cannon. Bonus attack speed on Rapid Fire Cannon. Ooh, that's scary. Because ranged Gwen and ranged Viego had gone untouched. So now you can hit Rapid Fire Cannon, Viego goes infinite. And even if you don't go Viego carry, Gwen can go infinite. Silvermere Dawn, 10 AD. Okay. Bug fix for Trenchcoat. And now we got new power-ups. Champ exclusive power-ups. I'm excited. Shine Brighter for Lux. Every other cast, Lux's spell explodes in a 2 hex radius and deals 10% more damage. Bigger Boom, huh? Mecha Blade, Aatrox only. Gains attack speed equal to 4% of his maximum health, and his attacks grant 5 bonus mana. That's pretty interesting. So you stack a bunch of 8 HP on Aatrox and make him cast way more often so he can heal a bunch. Supreme Surge, Cannon only. Whenever an enemy is executed by Supreme Cell, Cannon heals 15% of his missing health and gains 15 mana. And it says by a Supreme. He doesn't have to be the Supreme Cell. So as long as you're playing Supreme Cell, Cannon can be like a fat frontline who heals over and over. I wonder if that opens a pathway, especially now that you have... But Heavyweight got buffed. So if you go Supreme Cell, even if you don't play for Kai'Sa, you're still definitely playing for Darius. And you definitely don't go Protector. Maybe if you hit like a Heavyweight crest, you're willing to put it on Cannon. And I'm not thinking 9,000 volts because he's a backliner for 9,000 volts. So the heal isn't entirely necessary. Not unless he's like the last unit alive. Yeah, that's an interesting one. Golden Gloves for Kabuko. When you gain interest, gain 1.5% AD per gold collected. Kabuko can scale infinitely with AD. Veteran. This unit is a mentor. They gain 4% damage amp, and their mentor upgrades 35 AD and 35 AP. Katarina, Xayah, and Callista only. Katarina, Xayah, and Callista. Katarina and Callista make sense to me because they're executioners, so they actually benefit kind of heavily off of this. Right? So now you can do like an executioner comp with like Soul Fighter. And that opens up a new comp opportunity with like Callista as your early carry and transitioning into Rise. Katarina kind of makes sense to me too. Because you can go back to having like Katarina carry. So Katarina reroll might come back and you can do all of that. Instead of aiming for like over 9,000 or anything like that. You do Katarina, you do Battle Academia, and your secondary is now Mentor. Because now Katarina is now a Mentor. And she's an Executioner as well, so you can play her with Rise as well. So you can do 5 Battle Academia, Katarina reroll into Mentor. And you get Heavyweight from Jason Kabuko. Yeah, that's not terrible. I mean, you probably don't play Yasuo because you don't get the edgelord bonus. But they fill in as a mentor. So you could do Katarina, Rise, Kabuko, and Udyr. And there's no Juggernaut or Duelist. But Udyr is Udyr. He's still really good regardless, and he does anti-heal to the whole board. I can definitely see that as a possibility. Especially if you take like a Battle Academia crest first. You could take a Battle Academia crest first and eventually put it on Rise for Mentor 7 Battle Academia. Katarina reroll? I don't know. I'm just brainstorming here. Drift Duo. Senna and Lucian gain +3 mana regen. If both are 3-star, gain +1 mech. Interesting. So you can put in 6 mighty mechs. So I wonder how you would do this. So like if I hit worth the wait Lucian, I fish for Drift Duo, and then you do Senna reroll, Senna Yasuo reroll for Mentor mech, and then you can hit 5 mech pretty easily with this. I suppose. Oh yeah, and Veteran also applies to Xayah. Mentor Xayah though? Oh, Edgelord. Yeah, you're right. You could do Mentor Edgelord with Xayah Yasuo. Interesting. Starry Night, Rel only. Rel gains 6% health and 10 AP for every 1-cost unit you field. 3-star units count double. That sounds like worth the wait Rel to me. Because if you are you ever rolling for Rel here? Maybe if you're like also rolling for Garen? No, you wouldn't, because you only get to plan on 1 unit. So you're playing Rel and you're playing Syndra. And they're both 3-star units. And then you're not playing any other 1-cost, right? Yeah, I don't know about that one. The most interesting one to me is Veteran, I would think. And maybe Lux. Lux carry with Soul Fighter might be the vibe. Alright, small changes to power-ups. Adaptive +20. All out above. I'm a little worried about that. Attack Expert +5. Bestest Boy Smolder +2. Kog'Maw +2. Blade NATO +5. This is just a plethora of buffs, right? Double Strike is no longer offered on Udyr. Desperado removed from Gnar. Desperado got buffed as well. Hyperactive buffed. Kenai buffed. Living Wall buffed. Wow. Mech Pilot down 80%. Okay. I didn't even see that until right at the end of this current patch. They're buffing Ordinary, which is basically built different. Over 9,000 AP, AD, attack speed gain up 1%, health up 10, resist gain up to 8. Wow. Over 9,000 no longer offered on Dr. Mundo, Malphite, Rammus, Rel, Shen, Udyr, and Vi. Pack Tactics buff. Serious Slam bonus damage can no longer critically strike or apply damage amp. Will now do damage based on the owner's basic attack damage rather than being affected by attack overrides like Volibear Slam. Oh, that sucks. Oh, but it's 210% slam damage now. Singularity cannot crit or apply damage out. Socialite. A nerf, obviously, to stop you filling the board with glowing hexes. Soul Trooper buff, standalone, nerfed, Strong Spark, buffed, Surge 66, unstoppable. Alright. Damn. Quicksilver no longer grants immunity crowd control if placed mid-combat, but will still get the attack speed. Protector's Vow no longer grants the combat start mana if placed mid-combat. Crown Guard, same thing. No shield mid-combat. And then a bunch of bug fixes. Okay, wow. That is a lot, bro. I've been talking for an hour. All right, so that is our TFT patch notes. I'm actually kind of hype about these things. It sounds pretty good to me. It seems pretty good. I'm actually a little hyped for the TFT patch notes because these are some huge changes, right? Having item reworks, new augments, new power ups, a nerf to all the usual suspects that are ruining the game. I'm a little hype. But that's gonna do it for me. We've been talking for an hour. I'm uploading the full uncut thing on YouTube. So, me talking for an hour for both these patch notes. Coming real soon. I don't know if people prefer the longer video. I was breaking it up at first. Right? I was doing League as one video and then TFT as another video. And I noticed I was getting overall less views for doing it that way. So I'm just going to leave it all together as one huge video. And maybe it's something you put on in the background and just listen to me yap and be a moron. So thanks to those of you who tuned in. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go rest and then maybe eat. And then perhaps we'll be live on patch day to test out these new changes, especially in TFT. So until then, I will catch y'all very soon. Peace.